are out to revisit a ghost town / mine called Swansea. It is being preserved and maintained, I believe, by the BLM or State Trust land. It is nice to go out to someplace that you know still there, and someone's looking after it for historical value. You can start to see the buildings of Swansea right over there. Downtown Swansea. Here we are. Try to put a good walk in today. I won't get terribly in depth, but try to show you around a little bit. It would take longer than most people care to watch to show you everything here, and I'll link to my other videos on this place, and you can probably get a good idea just about everything if you're that interested. right down to the end here. There's a couple of ramadas and picnic areas. I think you can, pretty sure you can camp here. So yes, this is Swansea. It is named for a town in Scotland in the UK. The ore that used to be mined here at one point back in the 1800s was sent back there to be smelted because there was no smelting facilities. This particular mine, when it boomed in the early 1900s, had its own smelter, an auto dealership, a rail line that came in and out of here that ran ore out of here, and a town that would support all that stuff used to be here. So off in that direction is Parker. The Bill Williams River, they used to run water from the Bill Williams River into Swansea. So these were mining company houses. The Clara Consolidated Mining Company consolidated 5 mines here to make up Swansea, but these would be the mining foreman's houses. You see, these were pretty well built. They actually had plumbing in them. It really wasn't your typical Arizona late 1800s mining development here. It was truly, as these things go, not a bad place to work and habitate, all by measures of the amount of infrastructure and amenities here. These buildings were all made out of, obviously, locally sourced stone and adobe. So you can very faintly see the outline of the adobe. It's basically just mud blocks made out of clay and straw. They stack them up just like bricks. And if it doesn't have a stucco enclosure, it will erode just like this has, but you can see the old straw that's up in here. It binds it all together. We won't make it there today, but if you venture off towards the east of this pretty good sized site is remnants of the rail facility in there. So the train station and hotel kind of thing are over there, and it's in one of my other videos. If you watch some of my older videos, this truck used to be part of the intro. These hills right here are all man-made, right in the front area here, and they're all tailings piles from the mines. Up there was a general manager's house. Not too much left. That adobe's pretty well melted. But he had the best view, I think. So of course the sun's in the wrong position, it always is. But behind me you see the foundations of the concentrator, which is a flotation plant. Built in the 20s or so. Used to reduce everything down to something that could be shipped out to smelters. Behind me, those foundations actually go under that waste rock pile, and those tailings there are what remains of the process. So we're on top of the tailings pile. You can see the flotation plant over there. And behind me is the hexagon foundation is the water tank for the concentrator. They have it all safed off, but underneath this structure is one of the mine shafts. Not 100% certain, but you can see 3 foundations, and there would have been a large head frame that would have pulled the ore out of the shaft and then sent it down to the processing plant. Here's the backside of the concentrator, so those foundations come all the way back here, and you can actually see decomposed rock foundation up there, and then the concrete down here, and remnants of a tank, all that riveted metal. So all the copper that came out of here originally went to Scotland, as I first mentioned, but after that it was, marketed in the States. And really, this place boomed from the early 1900s, 1904 or something like that, right to the 20s, and somewhere around there, Clara Consolidated started having financial troubles. And by 37, pretty much the whole population had left. We closed the post office sometime after that. There's another added vertical shaft that's been protected by metal. And keep your butt from falling in there. As I've mentioned before, artifacts always find their way down into the wash. You can see a bunch of rusted old metal bits and pieces down there. Up there at the top of the hill, I believe you see the boiler structure. Some processing foundations down below. You can't get close to it because there's a big wrought iron fence all the way around, so I'm not going to hoof it all the way over there. But down below in that wash down there is all the rail siding and all that stuff is down there. And I don't know if you can see, but at the lower part of that hill, as you come up out of the wash, is all rail bed. Goes all the way there. So right behind me you can see the miners' barracks or dormitory or whatever you want to call them. It's where the bachelor miners would stay while they're working here. I guess the more politically correct term for these are worker cottages. They were built around 1917. All these roof structures were rebuilt about 5 or 6 years ago to help protect the actual structures. Some of the original floorboards. Looks like some of the stabilization work was broken up. I think it stopped at some point. They were replacing all these sills and window frames. It looks like they got one in, but someone kicked it in. But compared to a lot of miners' accommodations, these would have been pretty high end. I mean, that's a 10 by 10 or 12 by 12 room. At least with the roof structures, it will preserve these buildings, and they do have some new stucco on them. So that'll keep these buildings here another 50 years if someone doesn't burn them down. And they really kept the cross members and the ceiling boards from the original. So they kept as much as they could here. Kind of gives you a feeling of walking through a old west town, some type of alleyway or something like that, walking through here. I'm pretty certain the shade, especially in the summertime, was very well welcomed. And there's some original floorboards, and this is what they actually nailed the floorboards to. They just took 2x4s, laid them in the dirt, and put the tongue and groove right over them. Who knew it? Artifacts in the wash. Most of this stuff is all corrugated metal from sheds or from roofs and things like that. Some old paint cans, oil cans, that kind of stuff. So the company that took over this mine from Clare Consolidated was Asarco, and these were their offices they built in 1929. You can see it was pretty nice. They had some courtyards, and floors were painted. And you could oversee all the mining operations. That old stove I don't think belongs in this building. I'm not 100% certain. There is a trash pile that follows this hill all the way around to the back side of the miners' cottages. And it's just glass and metal, and I'm sure it'd be a antique collector's dream. But don't get your hopes up, because it would be illegal to remove anything from this site. But back in the day, when you were done with something, you'd find the common area and just pitch it out, and off into the desert it went. So this ruin is the Clare Consolidated mining offices. It was theirs at one time. It's also the Swansea General Store. Plus, as I recall, I may not be 100% right, but as I recall, this was also a bathhouse for the miners. So you see that that pipe there, and that structure, I believe that was for hot water. I'm not 100% certain, but as I recall in previous studies of this site, that there was a bathhouse here also. So like I said earlier, really this site had quite a few amenities and things that you wouldn't see normally on any real mine site. To have a bathhouse, obviously it's a company store, you're going to be indebted to the company store, but it was a pretty good life here being so remote. I mean, even today, I believe Parker's 20 miles that way, and Baus is the next one. It's about 15 miles away, and there's maybe 5 buildings there as far as commercial buildings go. So even today, you're out in the weeds for sure. Well, I'm heading back towards the bike. I'm going to take my dusty, sandy ride back to camp. If you have the adventurous spirit in you and you're in Arizona, whether you live here or visiting, it is an accessible site. They are primitive but maintained roads. It is gravelly roads. I would not come up here on a street bike. Would not come up here in my grocery getter. That's my opinion. It is a sandy, dusty ride, gravelly, rocky stuff, and the pass is pretty rocky, so I wouldn't do anything less than a SUV. But if you're adventurous and you bring plenty of water and stuff, I highly recommend coming to Swansea. It's a good representation of a mine site that's fairly accessible. Oh, there she is. Happy to see the bike. All right, let's ride out of Swansea. Well, I appreciate you watching. Please comment, subscribe, ding that bell so you get notified when I put up a new video. Like and share. Adios.